Hey guys, it's Deneen here with the Story Play Read Kit, and I am going to be working with it to record my top 4 all-time books. And I do want to use the chipboard pieces. I'm going to use the numbers, and I'm not going to use these tabs because I don't read a lot and I don't really have monthly documentation, but I know they will be wonderful for my project life. So I'm going to be using them probably for 2025. I also have the top 5 books 3x4 card, which I changed to top 4 books. This was another 3x4 card that I resized and printed out so that it could be, it's a little bit over 5 inches now, but I'm going to cut it down to be 5x5. I wanted to use the packaging, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but I did use it for something else. So I did end up printing out the packaging word art onto craft cardstock. And this is the inspiration. This is the piece that drew my attention the most. I love it. So I'm definitely using that. And then I have some pieces that are 2.5 inches by 5 inches. And on one side, we have a cover of the book, and then the name of the book, the author, and some words of my own on the other side. And you'll see that they're all oriented a little bit differently because they are going to be folded, and then they're going to be opened, and they're all going to open in different directions. So you'll see as I'm putting together this page or spread how that is going to turn out. Alrighty, so let's get started. We're going to score these at the 2.5 inch mark so that they can fold in half. So I'm just scoring them on my scoreboard so I can start putting them together. I will fold them into halves and they will have a cover on them. So it's not going to be a white cover. It is going to be that piece I showed you earlier from the 3x4. It's like a script card or something with this wonderful shade of blue on it. And I just love it. I love the soft colors that I chose or that came with the kit that I decided to put together. So these are all going to be scored. And once I am done scoring those, I am then going to pull out this piece and I'm going to put these together how I plan on having them on my transparency. And this will go on top. And of course, like I said, it's a little bit larger, so it needs to be trimmed down. So I'm going to go ahead, and I did that just to be sure. I wasn't sure, so I figured better to have more than less. So these two are going to be side by side, and I'll cut that down. And now these two, I need these to fit on top of each other. Okay, so that looks like it's going to work well. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some measuring. I'm going to trim it. I'm trimming this at the 2.5 inch mark. So I'm essentially cutting this into quarters as I'm doing this. I'm cutting it into quarters so that each one of these is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So again, just putting things up against each other, making sure that they're going to fit the way I want them. I do pull my ruler out a few times here, mark things with a pencil, just again, trying to be as precise as possible. I want these to fit together, and I want them to fit together in a way that you can see the 5x5 design as if it were still one piece, if that makes any sense to you. So I'm just trying to be as precise as I can here. And as I'm doing this, I really don't know if it's going to work, but I keep thinking I could always reprint. I could always reprint. That's the joy of digital. You'll see here that as I'm going to put them back together, I didn't mark them. So I wasn't sure. I'm like, okay, I know this is the alphabet and I know these are supposed to fit together. But for some reason, I just could not right off the bat get them to fit back together like a puzzle the way that they were supposed to be. So I'm just kind of playing a little bit here, trying to figure that out. Eventually, you'll see I do get to the point where I figure it all out. And now it's just a matter of using my rolling adhesive to place the decorated square, the printed square on top of the folded pieces. Okay, so I'm just doing that and then putting them back together to look as though I want them to look on the page that I am actually creating. So this is super easy, but I think the part that is the hardest, or was the hardest, was just making sure the measurements fit, and they did. So I'm going to put these 2 pages next to each other, so let's punch some holes in those pages. The book love is going to go on the left, the transparency on the right. So I'll begin placing down this piece. What I did is I used the 4 from the December daily release this year. Allie had a set of numbers in her handwriting, and I used that to replace it in Photoshop with, replace the 5 with a 4. And then I also recolored that top 4 books to match the blue on the other page. So again, the wonders of being able to work with these digital elements, it's just so fun. All right, so I'm lining this up and I'm starting at the bottom because I have my right angle ruler there, making sure that both of these, the 5-inch piece and then all of these pieces totaling 5 inches, are in line with each other, adhering them and putting them on the way that they are supposed to be. So that is it. This is a super simple idea, and it just, I think that the flip part came from working on December daily foundation pages and just enjoying making interactive things. Now, each of these is going to have one of the numbered chipboard wonky circles on top, and I'm just figuring out where do I want them, in the middle, on the outside, on the inside. I'm just moving them around. So I decide that they are going to go sort of in the middle, and then I decide to put the book love to kind of balance the black on the page. But I feel like something's missing, so I pulled out the stamp set and I found the stamp that says reading details. So now I want to stamp on here. So in order to do that without messing up, I need to use a little bit of washi tape to hold these flaps down, because I'm afraid that as I'm stamping, they're going to pop up on me. So I'm going to put the stamped reading details underneath each of the wonky circles. I think I used Stays On ink here. I don't think you need to use Stays On ink, but I just think it's a little bit more bright and vivid than regular black ink. And so I usually pull towards that as I am stamping. So there's my test stamp, and looking to see, making sure that I want the word art to be beneath the wonky circles. So there's the first one. And I will do that same exact stamping underneath each of the circles. So just a little bit for the reader to know that there are details, right? I know they're going to know something's going on because those flips are probably not going to lie completely flat. I mean, eventually they will in my album because they will be, underneath other pages, and eventually they will get flattened. But for now, it's just kind of like a little bit of a detail that lets the reader know, hey, there's more here to see. Using some score tape, I will go ahead and I will add the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in place as I want them. And like I said, I really, really love how the black stands out on these more muted, softer colors. I just think it looks really, really good. I have to put the book love on. And when I'm tearing off the washi tape, I actually go ahead and I pull off a little bit of the pattern. So again, things happen. It is what it is. You'll see how that gets fixed. I didn't intentionally try to fix it, but it ended up getting fixed in the end because I end up putting some tabs on those squares, which is not in the video, but that you are going to be able to see here, because this is how it looks in my album. And you'll see I got some white tab stickers. I used a stamp from the school story kit, and I stamped 3 stars on those, and I placed them around each or on each square in order to be able to lift them open. And that kind of made me happy. And it ended up covering the boo-boo from the washi tape, which is perfectly fine. And then here is how, and I kind of took it out of the album so I could open all of them fully up, but this is how it looks when you open them all up. And I think it really came out great. This was a super simple idea, but it was fun for me to document some of the books that have had an impact on my life. I'm not an avid reader. I don't read books very often, but these are 4 of the books that I have read in my life and that I still have them. And I have Some of them are self-help books that I have referenced recently, right? They are just they've had an impact. So you don't necessarily need to be an avid reader to use this kit. You could just document other things that you read, as well as blog posts and newspapers. And there are definitely multiple uses for a story kit about reading. And this one was certainly very fun. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we will see you guys really soon.